Hello my fellow Tamrielites. Thursday, April 10 was the Twitch stream about Update 46, Season of the Worm Cult Part 1, the start of the new seasonal model for content releases. Like previous second quarter patches, it will drop in June, coming to PC Mac on June 2nd and to console on June 18. Guys, we have so much to talk about, let's get into it. I've heard a lot of fan confusion about what the switch to a seasonal content model will look like. Here's the actual plan for 2025. I wanted to start out with this because I think it's easier to talk about the content of this patch if we can see the context. The patches have always been quarterly, and that won't change. I expect them to drop on about the same dates as previously, which is true of Update 46 since we usually get the second quarter patch the first week of June for PC Mac. Part 2 of the Season of the Worm Cult storyline will drop in the fourth quarter, and I expect that to be around the end of October for PC Mac and the beginning of November for console, as the Q4 patches usually are. We're fairly used to seeing a zone release in June and a sub-zone in Q4. One of the big changes this season is the addition of a new event in between those zone stories, one that's directly related to and will directly impact the second half of the Season of the Worm Cult questline that drops in Q4. I'll talk more about that event later, but one thing to note here is that a big benefit of leaving the chapter model behind is that it frees up the dev team to release content over the full year instead of all at once in June. You are absolutely free to disagree, but I was beginning to find the size of the new chapters to be overwhelming. I do the quarterly rewards videos that list all the rewards in each patch, and the first cut for the one in Gold Road was an hour long. I cut it down to 45 minutes, but I was seriously concerned about my ability to handle it all in one video this year. And the moment I thought that, I realized what a Herculean task it is for the dev team. Again, your mileage may vary, but I am genuinely happy about this shift to releasing more content over the full year, rather than so much of it coming out in June. I'm an ESO Plus subscriber, so I have access to the dungeon packs for free. Every year, I budget $40 to $80 for the annual chapter in addition to the sub fee. This year, instead of a chapter, we'll be buying a content pass. The content pass covers parts 1 and 2 of the Season of the Worm Cult story, which includes a new zone, Solstice. That's comparable to the chapter model, but the content pass also includes the first quarter patch that has already come out, Fallen Banners, as well as the upcoming third quarter patch, Feast of Shadows, which will also contain 2 dungeons. The content pass also includes the usual in-game extras we expect from chapter packs like emotes and pets. So the big difference here is that if I buy the content pass, I get everything I would have gotten with a chapter, but I also own the 2 dungeon packs, which I will then always have access to, even if my ESO Plus subscription lapses. Which begs the question, as a regular steady ESO Plus subscriber, doesn't that mean I'm getting less for my subscription money? And the answer is absolutely not. We will be getting a lot more for our subscription because Update 46 will also be bringing a huge upgrade to ESO Plus benefits. Details on that will come later at the end of the video. Stay tuned. That's the 2025 framework and how Season of the Worm Cult Part 1 fits in. If it feels very familiar, that's because 2025 is a transition year, so the framework pretty closely matches what we've seen before with the chapter model. However, it's likely that next year the seasons will be shorter, lasting maybe 3 or 6 months. The PTS for Update 46 will open Monday, April 14, and we'll know more details then. Here's an overview of the content additions that they shared during the stream. The new story is a sequel to the base game's Cold Harbor story and is set in a new zone, which is the island of Solstice. The primary town is Sunport, and the native population are High Elves and Argonians. The island is under attack by the Worm Cult, who have risen from the ashes of their defeat in the main quest. Happily, the return of our old foes also means the return of our old allies. And look, it's Razumdar. We'll also be seeing a number of other familiar faces, including Skordo, Gabrielle, Vanis Galarian, and Princess Ah. Running into NPCs I know from previous quests always makes the game feel so much more immersive to me. And hey, I have giveaway codes to share. Tell me in the comments what character you would most like to see return and have their story continue, and you will be entered in a drawing for a free giveaway code. Also on the island of Solstice is something I've been waiting for in ESO for years. 2 words, my friends. Magical Carnival. Now, it's possible I have watched the movie Something Wicked This Way Comes 1 or 2 or 12 too many times, but I'm really happy about this. Update 46 will also bring us a new trial, the Ocean Cage, which ties directly into the Season of the Worm Cult story. We don't know much about it yet, but the stream team hinted that the rewards were really exciting. The trial is set in Cold Harbor, and other than that, we'll know more after the future stream that Rich said they'd be doing soon. ZOS announced previously that console players would soon have access to add-ons, and I'm happy to say that access will begin with Update 46 in June. I saw players all capping Minimap into chat, so I know y'all are excited. I don't run a lot of add-ons, but I really lean on the ones I have, and I am super happy for you. So far, there's nothing all that surprising, so you may be waiting for the shoe to drop. And here's the first of them. Subclassing. For a long time, players have been asking for the ability to switch classes, but that detail is too hardwired into your character for it to be changed. Update 46, however, is going to allow us to swap out class skill lines for skill lines of other classes. I'm going to talk through some of the details and try to address some of the questions I saw asked in chat during the stream. Obviously, though, we'll all know more Monday after the PTS opens. Here's what we know now. Firstly, you will still need to choose a class during character generation, and the character will always stay that same class. Again, that is too hardwired. Everything that is class restricted, like the armor sets from the Infinite Archive, will still be restricted by the character's primary class. You must retain at least one skill line of the 3 class skill lines of your class, but you can switch out either one or 2 of the others. As I'm understanding it, the character will be giving up access to a primary class skill line and instead will get one from another class. A character can swap out 2 skill lines, but the 2 new ones have to be from different classes. For example, a sorcerer can add a Dragon Knight skill line and a Templar skill line, but cannot add 2 Dragon Knight skill lines. One final note, when you swap out the skill line, you are swapping out and in both active skills and passives. I assume that also includes the ultimate, though they didn't specifically say so. The next question is how. There are 2 parts to this. First, the skill line that you are going to swap in has to be unlocked on your account. If you have another character of that class, that'll do it. If not, you need to go to some extra effort to open that skill line through the subclassing system and then level it up. Once that's done, the account has the skill line. Note that if the class is only available through a purchase, like the Arcanist, then you have to have purchased it through the Crown Store or as part of the DLC to access its skill lines. Once a skill line is unlocked on your account, the actual subclassing is done per character. If you want to have a character subclass, that toon will need to complete a short introductory quest, and then that toon specifically will be able to swap skill lines. Hopefully that covered at least some of your immediate questions. One really low-key thing that was kind of snuck in was, in my humble opinion, way undersold. When Update 46 drops, masterwrits will stack, which, cool, fine, whatever, will help with inventory bloat, but why is that a huge deal, Zells? And my answer is the word envelopes. See, there's a lot of different kinds of writs, so stacking isn't really a thing. Instead, we'll have 7 envelopes, one for each kind of crafting, like blacksmithing and enchanting, and all writs associated with that kind of crafting will automatically fall into that envelope once they come into the inventory. It's the envelope that's going to be sitting in our inventory. So again, why am I so hyped? Because envelopes are new tech on the coding side and now a new thing in the ESO coding toolbox. Envelopes are containers inside our inventory. One slot, many items. Rich said that this is potentially, I repeat, something that can be used in other applications. If they can adapt the tool, then envelopes will happen for treasure maps, among other things. I'm gonna give you a moment to think about all the things you'd like to put into envelopes and hold together. I can't stress enough that this is a maybe, but man oh man, I am crossing my fingers. Update 46 will also modernize the look of the UI. They'll be removing the torn edges for a sleeker appearance. UI changes are also being implemented to help new and returning players navigate the menus more easily, which of course will help all players, not just the new ones. Additionally, ESO will be adding welcome back features that help returning players pick up where they left off and get back into character. I look forward to seeing what exactly that means. I don't know about you, but I count as a returning player when I log on to an alt I haven't played in a year. We didn't get to hear much about them, but Update 46 includes 3 new player homes, and oh yeah, speaking of player homes, remember when I said that Update 46 would bring a huge benefit to ESO Plus subscribers? Yeah, so, one more thing, and again, 2 words, Furnishing Vault. The Furnishing Vault will be available to ESO Plus members as part of the subscriber benefits. The vault will have 500 item slots, but anything that stacks can have up to 1,000 pieces stacked. The Furnishing Vault is a collectible furnishing like a storage container and is therefore accessible from all houses and from within inside the housing area. I recently did a video on managing life without an infinite furnishing bag. It'll be linked on the screen. And one of the things on my list of alternatives was a furnishing storage container with 500 slots. I had no idea that was actually in the works, and I didn't expect we'd see anything like this added until the end of the year, if ever. I am a happy Zells. No, it isn't an infinite bag, but this addresses how I move bulk amounts of furnishings around when I am in the testing phase and trying 5 items for every one I actually put down. I really appreciate that ZOS is making this part of ESO Plus. We know the upcoming live stream will cover the trial, but my impression was that they will go into more depth about other changes and additions coming with Update 46. I'm interested in seeing what else will be included. I talked about Part 2 of the Seasons of the Worm Cult story coming out in the 4th quarter. Between now and then, the 3rd quarter will bring us the Feast of Shadows patch, which includes 2 new dungeons, and we will also see, sometime in that quarter, a new kind of world event. It'll be called the Writhing Wall. The Writhing Wall separates the 2 halves of the island of Solstice, and over the course of the event, each server as a whole will have to bring it down. This is a community participation event. The server as a community will build siege equipment, defend the camp, and help build a powerful weapon. Over the course of the event, each server will see the defenses rise, the weapon come together. Once we finish, the wall will come down. Remember I said in the 4th quarter patch we'd see an additional subzone? The Writhing Wall event prepares us for Part 2 of Season of the Worm Cult by allowing us to access the other half of the island, which is that subzone. In the year-end letter, ZOS promised us new kinds of content and new ways of looking at old content. I believe they are totally delivering on that, and I'm really excited about 2025. We'll have more details to cover about a lot of these topics in the future, but that's it for now. I appreciate that you spent part of your day in my little corner of the interwebs. Thanks for watching, and until next time, may all your loots be leet.